Cheap Sandwiches by a length, Soleil Mio. Then Droopy's Bookham on the far side, picking up lane. Cheap Sandwiches, Droopy's Bookham did a stack of running. Delardidar is trying to pick up Churchfield Sid still there. Delardidar closing all the way. Oh, it got so tight. Dynamic Force boxing on here for Paul Hennessy. Leads by a couple from Bombay Pat. Won't be caught tonight. Dynamic Force. Bookham's Diamond by a length. They're queuing up to challenge. Slicks down and wears him down. And on the far side, Droopy's plunge came late as well.
Well, if that doesn't get the juices flowing, I don't know what will. We're at a stunningly beautiful grey toaster today for the semi-finals of the Star Sports and TRC English Greyhound Derby, and I can't wait. We are gone to the Dogs Live. I am Danny Jackson as always, and I'm joined this afternoon and evening by Joe Keneally and Jason Beresford. Joe, it's getting to the nitty-gritty end. It
is. I didn't realise how tall you are, Jason. I was looking at that camera then, and you're very, very tall, aren't you? I'm 6'4", so you must be knocking up 6'3". There we go. Look at that camera and smile at everyone. And what a night we've got in, Jason. What a night we've got in store today. The last 12, Danny, this is what ground racing is all about. It really is. This is what ground racing is. I must say as well, the 12 we've got are unbelievable. So we've got the top of the market still in there. No real shock so far, I must say. So, 12 brilliant grounds, Jason. I can't wait for tonight.
I'm often described as a mountain of a man, and I didn't realise I was going to be in the company of Phil Collins for this. No jacket required either, but you're quite right. The action tonight, I mean the semi-finals, obviously the cherry on the Knickerbocker glories, 2 cherries, but leading up to it as well, fantastic.
I cannot wait to dive into the action later on in our late show, which starts at 6:40, of course. But let's have a look at those outright prices. They've changed a little bit, but the main protagonists are still there at the top, with Bocco's Diamond heading the market like he has done since last year, 3-1. Cheap Sandwiches 7-2, Delardidar 11-2, Soleil Mio 12s, Bombay Pat 16s with Dynamic Force 20s and bigger the remainder. What's the value for you now?
Well, he's only a point smaller than he was generally, Danny Bocco's Diamond, at the start of the competition. Around a 4-1, 9-2 chance. He's 3-1 to win the competition still. Cheap Sandwiches 7-2. He's my last anti-post ticket around 25-1, so I'm hoping he gets through. But Bombay Pat was around 12-1 at the start of the competition. 16-1 now with 2 rounds left. So he's gone out 4 points after getting through 4 rounds. He hasn't been bigger than 6-5 favourite in any of the rounds. Tonight he's around 5-1. 16-1 there. If he starts, he'll win. Now that price looks silly if he does start, but a massive if.
I was going to say, if is the biggest word in racing, isn't it? Let's have a look at the fastest times that we've had throughout the competition from the 12 that have qualified for the semi-finals. And Jason Delardidar, he stomped his authority all over the competition in the first round, and he's not been beaten for time since.
No, I mean, just brilliant. And it seems incredible now, and this, again, wonderful thing about the Derby, that prior to it, there would have been some question marks. You know, the brainy men of Oxbridge have all been saying, oh, Delardidar's year was last year, not brilliant coming into this, but straight away from the get-go has been fantastic. And to have a better time than Bocco's Diamond, particularly from that, well, obviously from that early round run, that really is something. But Soleil Mio, I mentioned it last week, Soleil Mio with that price, that time there, 28.54, and Dynamic Force at 28.61. I think they're the revelations.
And they've been getting better with every round. If you look, like the white dogs are in 1 semi-final, the yellow dogs are in the 2nd semi-final, and 3 out of the 4 fastest times in the first one. So it could be electric, Joe. It
could, but times become absolutely irrelevant as long as you're in the first 3. Now, no better feeling. Connections wouldn't give a monkeys if he does 29.50, but he finishes 3rd. Yeah. They don't care. It's all about qualifying. So, yeah, times become irrelevant now. It's all about getting in that first 3.
And we were doing the rehearsal just beforehand, and you said it actually after Ballinabola Joe recorded the 391 split. The only dog in this year's competition that could beat him, Bocco's Diamond. He's not done it yet.
He hasn't been coming away. So if this dog does come away, how we know he can. I know he isn't a massive fan of the traps here, but there are dogs who are fans of the traps. So you know that kind of excuse or reasoning can go out the window to a degree, because there's Churchfield City who comes out of them every week without fail. But Bocco's Diamond, he hasn't come away from them as well as he can. He clocked 393 in the 2nd round when he trapped okay. He's the only dog who could do a 388, 389 if coming away well.
Big words, Jason, they are.
Big words, fighting words. But just to say, it's, I mean, that's to the extreme, because if you came away, could easily do fastest sectional. But Pat Janssens, for instance, has been talking about Droopy's plunge. He's got a much better start, he thinks, than we've seen as well. So there's a few in that camp.
And Danny, the middle boxes is where Droopy's plunge is. That might just be enough to get him across the two rivals, Prince and Seaman, no better feeling.
There's a few lurking in the pack that could blast out this evening, but we don't only have the semi-finals, of course. We have plenty of other races on the show. We've got the first three sprints we will be showing throughout the show, but we start with the 651, the GreyhoundTrader.com Stakes, 2 semi-finals. Then we go to the BGBF True Frame Champion Stakes, 2 semi-finals there. The Bet Goodwin Derby Challenge Trophy over the 712. There's 2 semi-finals at 8:06 and 8:22. Then we get into the meat of the meeting with priced-up.bet Derby Plate, 2 semis, and then the 2 biggies to round off the card, 9:15 and 9:34. And if you're not watching anything else, make sure you tune in at 9:14, because you've got 2 of the best races of the year coming at you later on tonight. I tell you what, we'll have a look at the first semi-final. The 9:15 is coming at you later on as we see the betting. Deladidar 13-8, 7-2 for Soleil Mio, 4-1 Churchfield Sid, 9-2 Bombay Pat, 10-1 Droopy's Bookham and Slick Sentinel. I have actually gone with Droopy's Bookham here. I'm just hoping he misses the break.
Just after them points, aren't you?
Yeah.
Rightly so as well. But yeah, it's a cracking race. It really is a brilliant race, and there's so many ifs and buts to this race. It's impossible to look at. And Deladidar, he's now out to 5-2 with William Hill. They want to take him on. They also want to take on Bocco's Diamond as well. 7-4 Bocco's Diamond and 5-2 Deladidar. So if you do want to try and get on with them and you fancy them dogs, they're biggest prices in the industry. But this is Churchfield Sid against Deladidar from last week, and Prince Nassim. Oh, it wasn't. Was it Prince Nassim back in third? No, it weren't Prince Nassim back in third. It was No Better Feeling, sorry. He was beating Romeo Empire, who stayed from 1. But this was Churchfield Sid. Just key, Danny, off that final bend, just as his leg's taken, the videos that Ashley put on earlier today of the close-up of the track just show his back leg just being taken slightly off that final bend, Jason. That was probably what allowed Deladidar to go on and beat him. I
think certainly, but they were 2 consummate pros.
Yes.
So even the fact that they came together, neither of them was going to throw it away. And I think that rings true in this race, that they are, if you like, the ones with the experience, the professionalism. Bombay Pat, of course, went out Irish Derby. Semi-final, so that would be hideous for connections there. Just quickly, if I may, want to mention Droopy's Bookham as well. One of the owners, Ben Collins, he was on BBC Radio Newcastle this week. I don't know if you listened to it, either of you, but did a fantastic job, and it was a brilliant interview as well. And if he gets through, I know they're going to have him back again. So well done to him for getting out there and promoting the sport.
Yeah, that's what we need, isn't it? All ears and eyes on the Derby today and, of course, next week for the big, big race of the year. Shall we have a look at Slick Sentinel? Because this was one of the races of the competition for me. It was the last race of the competition last Saturday evening. And Slick Sentinel, I mean, he does what he does best and pops out the boxes. But he comes back at both Bocco's Diamond and Droopy's Plunger, who's coming up the inside.
He does. The whole talk about this race was out of the boxes. We knew that Slick Sentinel would trap. He loves the trap 6 jacket here. The box, Bocco's Diamond in 5. He had to come away to maybe clear him, but the pace that he showed Bocco's Diamond from 2 to 3 probably takes away how good of a performance it was from Slick Sentinel and Droopy's Plunge. A lot of people are talking about that 2 to 3 burst that he's shown to hit the front, but then to come back at him and beat him after being passed by him is a serious run. So a great performance from Slick Sentinel. I love Keith to bits. I want him to qualify more than anything. He's a fantastic person. He's a massive supporter of the sport as well. So, yeah, I hope he qualifies for Keith. But it's an okay draw. You know, if Bombay Pat was in 4, I think it'd be a lot more difficult for Churchill Sid and Slick Sentinel. With Slick Sentinel in there, you've seen him on the run to the corner last week. He does edge in from 6.
Yeah.
It shouldn't worry him too much. And we keep saying the middle traps, Danny, they do come out of them.
They do, yeah. I mean, they were the ping boxes last year, and this year it just throw the rule book out the window. But we'll see how we get on later on this evening. We're going to have a look at the 9:34. The final race tonight is the second semi. And down the card, No Better Feeling 50-1. 2 Prince and Azim 25s. Droopy's Plunge 7s. Dynamic Force at 4s. Cheap Sandwiches 7-4. And Bocco's Diamond at 11-8. My nap is actually Dynamic Force this evening because in my mind I can see all 3 of them getting out, 4, 5 and 6. but I can see Cheap Sandwiches just edging into Bucko's Diamonds ever so slightly, leaving Dynamic Force to pop out, make every yard of the run in. So that is what I can see in my mind.
If only it was that easy.
I know. Watch it be a complete opposite to what I've just said, because it usually is, to be fair. But that is how I see it in my mind, and I've been dreaming about it all week. So hopefully it happens, because I need those points. We're going to have a look at Cheap Sandwiches, though, in action last week, and he had a beautiful draw.
Just a thorough professional who goes about his business quietly. Took a bit of a hit there from Droopy's Aladdin as well, going into the first bend. He glides around here, Danny. We say it now every week, and he just keeps impressing more and more every week. And you know, this wasn't an easy race for him. Solomio in 2 was giving chase. He was chasing really hard in defeat. Droopy's Bookham in 1, who we know stays really well. But this dog Jason just glides around this track, and he's taught to it extremely well. Poetry
in motion, and I think that Graham Holland and the owners, if you own Cheap Sandwiches or are connected, you want Dynamic Force to come out. If I own Cheap Sandwiches, let Dynamic Force come out, do what he does off the front, and be round in second. Bocco's Diamond can do what he does, and I honestly think the thing about Dynamic Force, I tend to agree with Danny here. If this race card didn't have names, and you were looking at the last pieces of form, particularly the last 3 or 4 races, which are obviously pertinent to the Derby, why would Dynamic Force be 4-5 to 1? I just don't understand it. It makes no sense.
And this is why you think that's a big price, because this was beating Bombay Pat last week and Prince to See in a great performance. And on the Twitter space last night, I hosted it with Billy Brennan for Star, and you know, Billy was on there, and it was Kevin Hennessy was on there, and it was really interesting listening to him. Really interesting, saying that this dog, he said he doesn't stay. He's not to that extent. He says he's not the strong dog that people think he is, and clocking these times from the third bend that we're seeing to the win line. He says this dog needs to be out in front to see the best of him. So I thought that was really important that he said that, because he's in with 2 of the fastest grounds around on his outside that he's got to try and clear. The blessing he has got, Danny, he should really clear the inside 3.
Yeah,
this could easily be a 4, 5, 6 in a reverse order. This race, it could easily go that way. We could easily get a 4, 5, 6 in this.
Combi TriCast.
Just to say, Kevin Hennessy off camera had a very good chat with Father Paul last week, and he told me, and I hate to put these things out there, Kevin these days, we remember him, don't we, from years back, under the thumb. That's a direct quote. Got kids now, married, under the thumb. There you are.
Happens to us all eventually. Right, we're going to have a look at our naps tonight. Just give you a teaser of who we fancy this evening. Hobbsy is emceeing at the track tonight, so you might hear him, but you might not see him. Spot Hobbsy in the camera background with Jason. Gary the Arb, Joe, you're with fabulous Olivia. Jason and Emily both going with Vega. She's a cracking bitch in one of the stayers semis. Daryl with Savannah Jackpot, and Ashley with the La-Dee-Da. And apparently, I don't count today. No one cares about my nap, which is probably for the best, but I'm with Dynamic Force.
There might be a reason behind that.
Why? Most of my naps have won.
Yeah, that's true. In fact, we had a clean sweep last week, didn't we?
Most of my naps have won, but alas, I'm not on the screen. It's fine. Everybody knows what it is now, because I've told you all. Yeah. But we're going to have a cracking time. 6:40 you need to tune in from this evening, and we are going to see you then.